Hey guys, welcome back to Canine Revolution Radio, episode number 45. We got special guest Tyler Watkins with us, and we're going to get into his story a little bit, see what he's all about, see what he does. He is a Marine Corps veteran. So Tyler, thank you and your family for your service, and looking forward to getting to your story. So right out the gate, kind of tell us where you were born and raised and what childhood was like growing up.
Hey, yeah, thanks guys for having me. Yeah, thank you for your support. Thank you for your service as well, big guy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we'll hop right into it. So I grew up in Indian Land, South Carolina, a small town right outside of Charlotte, one stoplight kind of town. But it ended up, as I got older, elementary, middle school, it ended up being the fastest growing county in South. So Lancaster County was the fastest growing county inside of South Carolina for like 10 years in a row. Wow. So went from one stoplight to freaking Walmart supercenters on every 521 is like the main little highway, and it's nuts down there. I mean, Charlotte itself has grown up ridiculously, but
that makes growing up more convenient. You can run down to the Walmart if you need to grab something real quick, you know?
Yeah. No, it got crazy there. It's almost unrecognizable from when I grew up, but it kind of reminds me of Somerville now. So
Somerville's exploding.
It's just going so fast. But had a pretty big family, like cousins, one sister, but playing sports all the time. Yeah, that was life of an athlete.
Were you playing multiple sports, or like did you focus on one sport?
Yeah. So football and baseball growing up. I mean, biggest focus was always baseball. Like I was like a travel baseball type guy. Okay. Played every weekend from time I was 5 years old to 15, 16. Yeah. I mean, even when I was playing football, like have football Monday through Thursday, Friday, play a game on Friday, load up Friday night, drive somewhere, go play Saturday, Sunday baseball, turn around, do it all over again.
Holy cow.
Watch, rinse, repeat. That was kind of, and then I dropped that gig and I was like, hey, I want to play football. I just want to lift weights and hit people.
Yeah. So, that's always fun.
But
a good thing. What was your primary position in football?
So I played tight end and linebacker in high school. Okay. I ended up taking a scholarship as a linebacker to go to college. Yeah. But that was the offensive side of things was I think what I really enjoyed. Yeah. But I don't know. When you were in high school playing football, kind of and baseball, when did you seriously get into like strength and conditioning training? Was that like when you were 12, 13 or younger? Yeah, it was about 12. We had like what was a mandatory, so you had to make a certain number of lifts during the summer to be on a team. So that was kind of my foundation into, I guess, strength training. Again, I did it because it was more like I was forced into it, didn't really find a passion for it until I got like 15, 16. Yeah. And then I realized what medium that could possibly be to get me to the next level. I realized I had to put in the work, especially if I wanted to play football, to get bigger, faster, stronger. Yeah. And that really led to my success in high school sports, and then earning a scholarship to go to college.
So a lot of high schoolers, they might start lifting weights because they want to look good. Yeah. So yours was performance based. Was that how it was? Or you also looking good too?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the looking good's never bad. Yeah. But no, it started off as like I was squatting daily because I wanted my legs to be so strong. Yeah. Because that's where, as a pitcher, that's why I played in baseball. And that's what my focus was as 12, 13, 14. Mm-hmm. I wanted to have that strong drive off the mound. I want to be breaking 90. So that was what I did. I squatted, lunges, step ups, all the stuff that's gonna build a strong foundational core, and I could freaking sling that thing. Yeah.
And then whenever you played football, you could crack some skulls.
Yeah, and then it just I mean, like early on, I was pretty. I mean, I wasn't really undersized, but I wasn't like a gigantic human in my early years but as I got into my sophomore, junior year, started playing both ways, JV and varsity, started having success, I think, from my lifting weights and stuff that I did. Even though I was smaller, I was one of the strongest guys on the team. Yeah. And then so started having success on the field, which eventually caught me some attention. And,
good to go. Did you ever, like you just said, you're squatting every day. Did you ever experience when you were that young, like overtraining at all, or figuring out, I might be doing too much, Or
nah, man. I mean, I didn't ever like think of it like that. Like you just kind of go. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I remember my junior, like senior year, it was my senior year. I had like we would work out, lift weights in the morning. Mm-hmm. I had weightlifting as a
class
curricular.
Yeah.
During the day, I would get out of weightlifting, go to practice, and then go home. My mom would feed me. I'd eat a bunch of food, and then I'd go run like 3 miles.
Holy cow.
On the treadmill to just like shake the legs out and like
really?
get feeling good. Especially during baseball season, if I was throwing a lot. That was like what they thought.
Yeah.
What baseball when I was growing up, they're like, hey, if your arm hurts, run poles. It's like go run. It's gonna fix it all.
Nice. So. And what was your mom feeding you? Like spaghetti?
Yes.
Rice?
I'd eat anything,
everything.
Yeah.
Typical teenage boy, but a high performer too.
Yeah.
I remember when I played football, we'd go to football practice. We'd do the 2-a-days during the summer, and then we'd roll out to CC's Pizza. Right after practice, we'd just smash the pizza bar. I don't know if you guys ever did that at all.
I have vivid memories like during summer weight. So we'd like from like 7 to 9 were summer weights. You had to be there at 7 a.m. And I mean, that took some discipline and some drive, like early on in high school. Like, you're getting up during the summer, Monday through Friday, you're going to lift weights for 2 hours. But then we'd go to Taco Bell, and it was one of the first restaurants we had there in Indian Land. And we'd get like, they had like the 98-cent burritos. I forget what they were called, but like cheesy double beef burritos or something like that. But $4, we'd eat like 8 of those a day. It was just like, boom, getting calories in. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you already mentioned you played football in college, Coastal, right?
Yeah.
And how did that kind of play out?
Yeah, so, I mean, my dad was pissed because like I played baseball growing up. They put a bunch of money in.
He wanted you to be a baseball player.
Yeah, I was actually a better baseball athlete. Like I had multiple scholarship offers for baseball. I didn't even get any traction or attention really from, like I didn't go to any of the combines growing up. Mm-hmm. I got attention mainly from other recruiters there to look at other players.
Oh, really? They saw you.
They noticed me when we were playing. So, but yeah, it was much better. I mean, I was breaking 90. I played in like the all-state game, North versus South, North Carolina versus South Carolina in high school. And I was the only guy not going. Everybody was going to D1 baseball schools. Yeah. I was the only guy out of like 50 athletes, 50 baseball players who was going to play another sport in college. So that was always kind of interesting. So my dad was pretty heartbroken, but I mean, I think I got to in between my junior and senior year, and I was like going to games every weekend, and I was like, dude, this is like, I want to be a kid a little bit. Like this baseball's very rinse and repeat, throw, catch every day. Football was at least you got like an off season, even though you're still like working out and lifting weights. Yeah. I grew to enjoy that, but
you're sprinting, you're doing strides, you're doing a bunch of different stuff.
You're doing a bunch of different stuff. It's not, you got to pick up a bat and a glove every day. Yeah. And baseball just took a lot of time. It's a very slow game, very boring at times. Yeah. So I got to in between my junior and senior year, and I was like, bump this, dude. I want to work out and hang out with chicks. Like, I want to enjoy my summer. I want to party and stuff like that. So
how was the camaraderie difference on a baseball team versus a football team?
I always thought it was almost identical.
Really?
Like, I never noticed any difference. Like your boys are your boys, no matter what sport you're playing. Yeah. I mean, there's a little different personality types, I guess, are more prevalent in one versus the other, but it's always a good time. But
I don't know if it was like more camaraderie on a football team because you're on the field like right next to each other versus baseball. You're kind of spread out a little bit, but you're also in the dugout together.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you definitely get more of that like in the trenches, like camaraderie versus like baseball. It's kind of like, I mean, they're your boys, but you're out there. It's kind of your own actions. Like football, it's kind of that like
team,
that perfect symphony of like, hey, you got this guy, I'm covering this, I'm making this tackle because you just took on that block.
Yeah.
Where like baseball, it's like individual actions that
make the team. Yeah.
So I feel it's a little more closely connected on the football side of things, but still a great group of guys, whichever way you go.
I had a good time playing football. Ben played football for a while. Yeah. Got good camaraderie and good times with the boys. Just hitting people, having a good time.
Yeah, man.
Surprisingly enough, I'm like a leaner guy, a smaller guy. When I signed up for football, it was my junior year, and I was doing like pretty much like a JRTC thing. It was called Sea Cadets, where I'd go off during the summer.
Okay.
I'd train with like some Navy, Marine Corps people, and then come back home. And so the football coach was like, "Oh, you'll be a great receiver. You're fast. You'll do this, do that." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I go out to football practice. I can't run, fast. I can't do sprints. I can run long distance. I can't catch a football. So like, "Oh, let's figure out where you should go." So they put me on the defensive line, defensive tackle, and I was just smashing people. Like, okay, this is probably good for you,
There you go.
I enjoyed that. So
cool.
So anyway, so you go to college. So kind of talk us through your college experience, playing football at Coastal.
Yeah, so I was actually looking at enlisting in the Marine Corps. I realized, hey, baseball isn't it anymore. Was looking at enlisting in the Marine Corps right out of high school.
Okay.
But that was before the scholarship offer started rolling in. My senior year, is when I started getting some traction. I play a few games, have some good appearances on the football side of things. And then scholarships offers start coming along, and I'm like, hey, like, maybe I can do this.
So pause right there real quick. You're already considering the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
What was steering you in that direction?
I think anyone who's really done it, you can understand, like, from a very young age, you just like 10, 11 years old, you just kind of have that like desire to serve and go like see what it's like. So that was present and something I had since a very young age. But
you ever play with your buddies out in the woods? Like, you guys got some sticks, you guys were like sneaking around
all the time, man. Like, I grew up on like 12 acres, so my grandpa like had a BB gun, and
oh, nice.
It was like camouflage every day.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how many squirrels you kill, how many like rabbits you kill, $1 a piece. Like,
nice.
So you're out there like freaking just doing your thing, and you're playing little scenarios out in your mind and stuff. But it's always a good time. But
so you're looking at the Marine Corps. You kind of get some scholarships, so then you start looking at the football option.
Yeah, I started looking at the football option, went on some official tours, went to Coastal, went to PC. They were mainly, all the football scholarships offers I was receiving was from small D1 AAs. In like the lower state, like Campbell University was starting up a team, UNC Charlotte was starting up a team, George Mason, that was like a school up in Washington. That was like a very weird one. Citadel, Charleston Southern, but PC and Coastal were the two I was really looking at. So went on official visits with them. Everything was going well. I was still kind of holding baseball. Like, I had my senior year of baseball, so I was still kind of holding that close to my chest. Like, hey, I'm not going to make a decision until like baseball season, because I had some big offers for those. And but then I think I got like 5 games into my senior season. I was like, bump this. I'm gonna finish off my senior season, but like, let's go crackheads and like have a good time. So ended up accepting. It was like a toss up between PC and Coastal. Legit, it was more like, hey, which one am I going to stay out of trouble in?
You picked Coastal.
Coastal's
known for the craziest parties.
So I went to PC first.
Oh, you did?
I went to PC first. Unknowingly, PC was way more of a party school than oh man, it was it was like 80% Greek community, smallest D1 AA in the nation. Like an 80% Greek community out in the middle of nowhere in Clinton, South Carolina. You can just do whatever you want. No
having
rules.
Bonfires, going ham,
frat house,
having a good time.
Frat houses. I ended up joining a fraternity there, and it was like the dudes on the football team that needed somewhere to party. So it was a mess, man. I was drinking like 5 nights a week all through pretty much through my like senior year of college, like
sleeping through classes.
Professional drinker, like part-time football player. So it was definitely like night and day from what I am now. But PC was a great time. We made a lot of good like buddies there, buddies I still stay in touch with. I mean, we were all playing football together. We were like sleeping like 2 hours a night and just partying.
That's what you do at that stage in life.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like crazy, like from a recovery standpoint or whatever. It was not present.
There's
like,
no recovery.
You just keep going. Like you just keep pushing the on button and the car keeps cranking up. So
especially with that much alcohol going through the system, your body's just dying. You know?
Yeah. You're legit dying on the inside, and you don't know how, and it's pretty wild. But
what about joining the frat? You know, did you have like some kind of indoctrination program or something? What was that like?
The things we did will forever like haunt my mind.
You allowed to tell any stories? You got any stories for us?
Trying to
that are appropriate?
I don't know that any are appropriate, or I'd want any of those stories like
revisited
or online somewhere where people can be like, he did what? So
you had a good time.
We had a good time. Yeah. So I stayed there for 2 years. Ended up having kind of an unfortunate event. One of my college roommate passed away. So he played linebacker with me. Was one of the other. So that's kind of a hard transition into a tough subject, but the alcohol related death, and it just kind of put like a bad stamp on like life there. Like it was already like a middle of nowhere quiet place, but then like it just kind of ended up being like that's all you think about 24/7. So talked to my dad. I was like, hey man, like I want to get out of here. Like this, it's just the football team program wasn't quite what I hoped for it to be. And like we were having like 2-3 game winning seasons, like losing 8-10 games. No fun. So a lot of things, but that was kind of like put the nail in the coffin. And it was like, hey, it's time to get out of here. So called my recruiter at Coastal. He was like, I let him know what happened. They were all aware of the situation because he was a football player, so it was going around.
It was going around
the conference.
Was that a big, turning point for you or any other players that this scenario happened? You guys started changing some of your habits and how you were performing, or not yet?
I don't think it ever did at PC. I think it really took me some time too. I mean, it was. I continued to carry like I said, drinking 5 nights a week. I continued to carry that on at Coastal. I don't know if that was like related, like it just like that.
Also, when you're that young, because I think that's like a typical thing for young people going to college. They go to college, they're now free, know, so the partying thing is what's going on, so everybody's partaking in it, and then if something like that happens, it really doesn't really register with everybody the way it would when you're more mature.
And it takes time and stuff like that, but transferred, like the recruiter at Coastal, he was leaving, so they were clearing house, so I was coming in at a new time where they were switching the entire coaching staff out. So he was like, hey man, like I'll put your name in touch with our new coaching staff, like we'll see how things go. Like it's kind of out of my hands. So they brought me in for a visit, did a summer workout for them. I was like, hey, we want you to come.
You impressed them. Your squat numbers were out the roof,
hopefully. But I came over to Coastal, like it was exactly like what it was, a good fresh start, like exactly what I was like looking for. The program was, I mean, they were winning our conference year in, year out in the Big South. I mean, elite level program. The new coach that came in was actually the former CEO of TD Ameritrade. So he was like super interesting story. Like he was like a football coach early in his career, and then like wasn't making any money, but like was a defensive or offensive coordinator for Dartmouth College. And then decided to, hey, like I need to provide for my family better. Went into Wall Street, went and got his MBA, moved up through the ranks of like, I think it was Merrill Lynch. Eventually, after like 20-year career, became the CEO of Merrill Lynch. Took Merrill Lynch or TD Ameritrade from a $500 million to a $12 billion company.
Holy
so like,
smokes.
I mean, when you're that large already, it's crazy that you can put someone in charge and they can completely flip the script on something like that.
So the guy was a leader.
Yeah.
The guy was a straight up leader.
Yeah. And he ran it. I mean, he ran the football program like a business. Like we were, we had a mission statement. We were expected to like act like professionals and act like athletes on and off the field, like show up during class, like act professional, and they treated us such. I mean, we got all the gear we needed. We got we flew everywhere we needed to go. We didn't take buses.
Really? Yeah. Holy smokes, dude.
So it legit, we turned it into a legit program.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're seeing the benefits of that foundation now. I mean, Coastal's on the big stage. Like,
they're doing good stuff nowadays. Yeah.
But sadly, I look back and I didn't really change my habits. Like I said, I drank 5 nights a week. Like, I'm like, man, if I treated myself back then when I was basically an athlete being paid to be an athlete, like I do now, to where no alcohol, like nutrition's in check, recovery's in check, like anything I can do to make sure I'm winning or standing on top of the podium, then I'm doing that. So I look back and I feel like I drank and partied away my college career. But hey, I mean, it's everybody goes through those phases of life. So
exactly,
I think it's
part of life.
If I wouldn't have got it out of the way then, I'd probably still be doing it
exactly
now.
That too.
I just got all my fair share in like 4 or 5 years. So
you do have to, at some point, you have to go through those kind of things and experience it.
Absolutely.
So you can make a decision on what you're going to do. And some people, unfortunately, are still stuck in that type of behavior pattern where they're, mid-30s.
Yeah.
They got their job and they're still acting like they're in the frat.
Yeah, still living their life through a beer can.
Yeah, it's not good to go.
Nope.
But this head coach you had that was like this big-time business guy, were you looking at him, taking any lessons learned, or looking at him the way he was performing? Like, what are some big takeaways you got from him at that part in your life?
I mean, I guess all the partying I was doing, I didn't realize how much I was catching on to things then. But since I've been on the professional side of things, like gotten out of college, like started my career, it's crazy how much stuff I've picked up, like daily habits. A big thing, so he would always conduct life after football meetings. So like I guess concept behind that is no matter when, everybody on the team, eventually your life after football starts. Your athlete career ended, you might go on to play at the next level. You might not, but no matter what, your football career is eventually going to come to an end. So like, how are you preparing to make sure that life after football you're ready for? So one of the biggest, I think, I look back and remember a lot of those meetings, but I think one of the biggest I remember is like compound interest. So like small daily actions compound over time to like who you become in like 5 years, 10 years from now. So it's not about doing all this in one day, but it's about completing those habits day in and day out. So I mean, he taught me so much. I mean, just the level of the program and the way they laid things out eventually really led me into my next career and going into the Marine Corps. I think reignited that fire. After I graduated in December of 2014. Started like going to job interviews, like looking around at these job interviews, these big companies, and still had that desire to serve. But I think the biggest thing was I was strongly desiring that extremely professional environment, like surrounded by type A individuals who were like motivated, ready to go get it. And because that's what I had at that program. And like, that's what I was like craving. So a lot of these just like corporate jobs, like I just wasn't ready to move into that yet. I was looking for that that competitive environment, that extremely professional environment. So
you won't find nothing better than the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
The one thing about the Marines is, like, if you look at all the branches, Marines are always on point, and their uniforms always look the best. They always perform the best. Their physical standards are above everybody else. Yeah. Just their boot camp is longer than the others,
I mean, you have turds everywhere you go.
Yeah,
But I think as a whole, it's that's kind of what made my choice kind of clear. I went in, I looked into some of the other options. I looked into the whole buds thing, looked into like going to Ranger school, doing the Army thing. But I think a recruiter got me. He did his job. Yeah. But he looked at me, and you're an athlete your whole life, so you're looking into the like SF side of things. Like that's kind of where you see yourself drawing, like elite to the elite. Yeah. But a recruiter looked at me and he was like, "Hey brother, I got a question for you." He was like, "You don't make buds, you don't make Ranger." Like, he's like, "I promise you one thing. Like, you come to the Marine Corps, no matter what you do, you'll be proud to be a Marine." Yeah. And I was like, "Fuck, man." Yeah. I was like, where'd you learn that line? you motherfucker. So it's between the time I graduated and about a year and a half, it's a freaking extremely long process to go, because I went OCC, so no ROTC in college. It's the officer commissioning program.
So you left college. Did you have to go to OCS first, or like what? That's what you first did?
So it was like a year and a half process to get into OCS. I mean,
So you waited a year and a half
before
you even stepped into it?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I contacted him. I mean, I graduated December 14th of 2014. The next month I was in the recruiter's office, like, "Hey man, like I'm ready to do this." Went through the steps. Right. He was like, "All right," like they kind of phased that out. They treat it's on the OCS side of things. I mean, it's a 10-week job interview. So they take that like like if you get kicked out of OCS, either sent home for not meeting the standards on physical, mental, leadership, you're not in the Marine Corps. Yeah. You go home, and you're not a Marine. Like, it's not like when you go through boot camp to where you're on the enlisted side and you're in the Marine Corps and they're going to force you through. They're going to fit you to that mold. On the OCS side, it's a 10-week job interview. So like they also use the pre-OCS, as you're going through the program, the screening program, to screen you. Like, hey, if I give him 80 pages of paperwork, like, is he going to get it back to me within 2 weeks and like show some initiative?
Test everything you're doing as a test. So they're not going to waste their time.
So like you submit all the paperwork, then you come in for a second phase interview, then you go to MEPS and make sure you're medically qualified, then you run your PFT and make sure your PFT is high enough to get in OCS, because I mean, there's on the officer side of things, I mean, most of the dudes there like running pretty fast, like
they're motivators,
18-minute 3 miles and all that stuff. So
when you were doing this process, like you're doing the interview to go to OCS, are you changing the way you're training at all? Are you still training kind of like football style training?
Yeah, no. So I actually, like, I walked into the recruiter's office and I'm like fresh out of football, so weighing like 250, 255. I mean, the most was still very in shape. I mean, play college sports, but everything was fast twitch. Like, hey, how, like, the max we ran was like a 400 ever. Yeah. Like, you didn't run longer than a 400 meter run.
You didn't do the 3 mile at that point?
No. Yeah, you did a 400 meter run. It was all sprint work. Yeah. I mean, just fast twitch, being as explosive as you can be at all times. And like, I mean, 40-yard sprints most of the time, but that's it. Yeah. So I mean, I walked in the recruiter's office and I'm like 245, 250, like no endurance whatsoever. Like, or no, I guess no 3 mile endurance. Like, that's a whole different test, especially at what level, being able to run an 18-minute 3 mile. Like,
those dudes are insane.
Yeah. It's tough. So, I actually had a buddy found CrossFit, and I was kind of looking at different ways to train, and kind of CrossFit was really getting big in like 2016. I was like, man, a lot of military guys went to this. Like, hey, this will probably be good. Help lean me out a little bit. Like, build up my endurance, lose some weight.
Yeah.
So I found CrossFit and like fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Immediately. I mean, just from a competitive side of things, a lot of like football players like lose their way. I guess for the first time in your life, you're no longer an athlete.
Right.
You're just this average dude again.
Yeah.
No one cares. Like if you played football, like 3 months ago, or at what level you played at, you're just a dude. So like, what are you going to do with your life?
Or if you keep eating like a football player but not working, you start your
exactly.
body composition starts to change a little bit. You know?
So I'll say nutrition took some time. Like
I was going to ask if nutrition at this point in your life was anything you were really tuning in on, or
I mean it started off as like CrossFit. Hey, I'm gonna just work out. I mean, all through college, I outworked a bad diet. Same thing, like drank as much alcohol as I could, outworked a bad diet. Or thought I could. But I got to the point where I was just like training for like 4 hours a day, preparing to go to OCS, like just working out. And found a good group of guys. I was working out of gym, CrossFit Weddington. My buddy I went to high school with, Cody Bradburn, he owns a gym up in Charlotte now as well.
Oh, nice.
But he got me into it. He got me in they were in a good training group, like guys that were training to go to like regionals at the time for CrossFit. And, we were just training 4 hours a day. The head coach at CrossFit Weddington, Corey Worf, was daily like writing an awesome program for us. So it was like 4 or 5 hours a day. That's all I was doing. We were just working out together, like same thing. And that was an awesome transition because it was like, hey, a group of guys to like surround yourself with, camaraderie. And like I said, just started entering like small competitions here and there, like doing okay just solely because I was strong, but still had a lot of like stuff to learn in CrossFit. I mean, CrossFit was getting big, but there were also a lot of people who had been in it for 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years at the time. So like I'm trying to play catch up.
You're a newbie and catching up.
So was training CrossFit for like 5-6 months. The whole time I was doing this and like preparing to go to OCS. I was working for my parents' own restaurants. So I was bartending, doing some management stuff for them, helping them out. And it was crazy. So CrossFit had regionals back in the day, and how you did in the open was if you qualified for regionals or not. So I got to the point to where I was waiting on qualification for regionals to see if I qualified or not. And then I was also like waiting on a call from OCS to see if like I was getting the next seat. And like literally the same night they pulled. So after you qualify, like they take the top 20 out of the region for the open. And by the time they pulled like disqualified guys and pulled teams, I ended up missing regionals by like 2 spots. And I was sitting there telling myself like, all right, like what if I get a seat to OCS and I get a seat to, and I get invited to regionals, like what do I do? And at the point I was like, all right, if I make regionals my first year in the CrossFit after like 5 months of doing it and being the largest dude in the region by like 30 pounds, I was like, I have a future in this sport. So like, I'm gonna take it and run with it. So like the same night I'm sitting at an all you can eat sushi buffet in Myrtle Beach. And, I look at my phone and they pulled the last group of guys. So like I missed that spot. And then like 10 minutes later, I get a call from my OSO selection officer. And he's like, hey brother, you got a spot. You leave in 2 weeks, you game. I'm like, yes, sir. Like, let's do this.
Good to go.
So
that worked out good.
Worked out good. So I'm like, all right, Marine Corps it is. Got all set.
Can you pull your mic a little bit closer?
You
can pull that arm towards you.
Got all like set, ready to go. And I think May of 2016 I left for OCS.
And so what was that like?
You
show up, what's it like?
It honestly wasn't like I was preparing. I mean, my OSO did a really great job of like preparing us. We went to a mini OCS, which was like 10 times worse because it was like 4 or 5 days in Paris Island, and and like a 10 week, they can only push you so hard for so long. Like eventually, like people are gonna start breaking, but 4 or 5 days, they can steal every bit of sleep from you.
Yeah,
they can push you because 4 or 5 days, you're still like running on pure adrenaline and like stuff you ate 4 or 5 days ago. So like your body's not going to break down completely in 4 or 5 days. So, I mean, that was extremely tough. I mean, you had legit Paris Island DIs, like freaking, and that's everybody's first. So I remember we were on the bus ride back, and we took like 30 dudes down there to go through this mini OCS thing that we're going through the program, and like 25 of them quit.
No
like,
way.
On the way back, they're like, I ain't doing this. Like it was like a huge wake up, and like
Paris Island mosquitoes.
I mean, it was definitely tough, but like that prepared for me. And he just told us like, hey man, like you better be checked in. You better be ready to go.
Yeah.
So like I showed up. I've had football coaches yelling at me my whole life, so like that was just nothing. And you just kind of like follow directions. And
we also went through the frat introduction too.
Yeah. I think that happened as well. Yeah, they definitely made us uncomfortable.
Yeah,
as much as we possibly could be. I slept a few nights in a cold attic, listening to music on loop over and over again, like some
psychological warfare
action. Yeah, there you go. So, I think just my life kind of prepared me for it well. Like I responded super well to that type of stuff. Like some people it like motivates and has them step up. Some people it like crushes their soul. I had already had plenty of soul crushing from athletics. So I just responded super well and honestly enjoyed it. Like when you look back, like it, like I said, it's a job interview. It's a 10-week job interview, and like the worst thing you want to do is like go home and tell your family, because everybody's like, oh, he's going to be a Marine. And you go home and like tell your family like, hey, I'm just a dude now. Like I'm not a Marine anymore. So everybody's like, what happened? And that was like the worst fear in the world. Like I ain't going home. Like bump that. So actually got through and had broken like 4 of my had like compound fractures in my foot.
Really?
I dislocated my shoulder and broke my
OCS?
wrist. Yeah, in OCS.
What the heck?
Yeah, I was pushing myself pretty hard. And
you're just going over the O course, slamming into the logs.
You're just constantly breaking. Like I said, I checked in at 240. I didn't lose a whole lot of weight. So I didn't lose a whole lot of weight in the time, even though I was training all the time. I still ate like a football player. So I didn't lose much weight, but I built that endurance. I mean, I was damn near breaking my 18-minute 3-mile at like 2:38, and lost like 25 pounds throughout OCS. So it's just breaking down your body. You go from, even though you're training and preparing, you go from like not putting any stress on your feet to like you're walking 15, 16 miles a day. You're not getting a whole lot of sleep because you have night watch and stuff like that. So it's just constant breakdown in your body day over and day over and day over.
Plus you got the mess hall food. That's probably not fueling you to maximum capacity.
Well,
if you're able to eat
that
it
was
all,
a breeze. That was a breeze for me. I always eat fast, and everybody says I always eat. They're like, dude, how you eat so fast? So that was like part of the easy. Is like, dude, we get to eat as fast as we want. No one's yelling at you, or no one's like, dude, why quit eating so fast? I'm like, I get to eat as fast as I want.
Shovel it in,
man, as fast as you can. So
those injuries set back your next phase of training.
Yeah. So I ended up taking like a small stint. So at a OCS, they basically said like we're in like week 9 or like week 10, beginning of week 10. They're like, hey, has anybody got serious nagging injuries that you don't think you'll be able to go to TBS? Like, hey, we want to be very upfront. Like, if you're broken in some way, you're gonna still graduate, because that was a fear. Like, you didn't tell anybody you were hurt because you were afraid you'd go to doc and doc would be like, yeah, bro, like you're going home. So you didn't tell anybody you were hurt. So I was like nursing those things from like week 2. And they're like, so like, listen, we have an opportunity for you to go like assist with Marine Corps Recruiting Command, so MCRIC. It was like right there in Quantico across the street. So you can go help with that. and you can heal up and then get ready to go to TBS. Like we don't want to send you broken. Like this is a good opportunity.
Right.
So me and one of my guys that was in the bunk right across from me, we're kind of looking, and I knew he was broken as well. He had broken his wrist and his ankle. So we're both kind of like, do we raise our hand? Like,
is this a trap?
Is this a trick? But we eventually raised our hand, go to like an interview. They interviewed like 12 or 15 of us, took 3 of us. So that was ended up going to McRick for like, I thought it was going to be like 2 months. It ended up being like 6-8 months, which was weird because like it threw off my entire cycle. Like I was over there for 8 months when like everybody else was, all my peers were completed with TBS, but healing up, going up to Bethesda to like the Naval Hospital to get like everything healed, got back into CrossFit training, got all my strength back, went from 210 back to 238, got strong, got fast again. So it was a blessing in disguise, but I mean, I was itching at the bits. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm wasting time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing like a staff officer job as a brand new shiny second lieutenant. So like it was nothing but at McRick, they called us like the leprechauns or something like that because we were like it was unforeseen to see second lieutenants at McRick. Yeah. It was all like majors, lieutenant colonels. I mean, there was full birds walking around that, like 10 full birds walking around that place at a time. So like you're just like, yes sir, brand shining. But it was good. I got to meet like and kind of see what the Marine Corps was all about before I should have. So it might have ruined me a little bit because I got some like, they're still like in the indoctrination phase. Like you're supposed to get a TBS and like, stand in line and play all these games. And like, I'm seeing how these majors and lieutenant colonels and colonels, they're just all like incredible humans, like bros. Yeah. And they're just great people to be around. So, ended up checking in TBS, go through TBS, that went extremely well again. Like just responded well to the training, to the environment.
What happens after TBS? Where do they send you after that?
So based on TBS, so how high you graduate is what you get a number. So like if you graduate in the like top 5%, then you're basically guaranteed your one of the jobs you want.
Okay, so that's where TBS is, and for those that don't know, TBS is called the basic school.
The basic school, and
that's where you're picking out what you're actually going to do in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, right? so it's actually, the training is they're training you to be a basic rifle platoon commander. So no matter what you do, like in the Marine Corps, everyone supports the basic rifleman on the ground. Like the enlisted, they say every Marine's a rifleman. Yep. On the officer side, they say every Marine officer is a rifle platoon commander. So an infantry platoon commander.
Everything in Marine Corps is geared to support the infantry.
Yep. So that way everyone has a foundational knowledge. All the officers, whether you're freaking a supply guy supporting getting these guys, you understand what they're going through. So if you're an aviation guy, like you understand how they're moving through the terrain and stuff like that. So
so at the end,
it's a great camaraderie building. Like you get to, I mean, you've got lawyers and stuff that are like right there side by side, and it's a lot of land nav, a lot of hiking, a lot of weeks in the field. You're out there, I mean, conducting patrols, conducting offensive, defensive maneuvers. So it was great. I mean, I like that's what you sign up to do. So like it was fun, and it was. You don't have the pressure from OCS of like, hey, am I going to make it or not? Like there's still pressure because you're still trying to perform. But like anyone who's likes to compete, like that's where it's at, man. Like, let's go compete. Like you want to go with me? Like let's compete. So
any run-ins with any snakes or anything out in the field?
No run-ins with snakes, man. I don't know. I've always been like super like, I never really worried about that stuff.
Really?
Like, I don't want to be hot when I sleep. I was there during the middle of the summer. So like, there's people, they're like, man, snakes, spiders, like they would zip all the way up in their little
bivy sack
bag. Yeah. Dude, I'm sleeping like shirtless, like skivvy shorts, just open. And we'd bed down. I mean, we'd just be walking in the middle of the night, dark as can be. They'd be like, all right, this looks good. Bed down here. So you're just like, you're legit just stomping down leaves. Like you're probably laying on poison oak and stuff.
Yeah, good to go.
But I'm like, dude, I'm so hot. Like, so I just you keep your boots on in case stuff pops off or they throw gas at you. So you can like, boom, zip up. All right, I'm ready to roll. But I would pull my boots all the way down to my pants all the way down to my ankles, take my blouse off, and so I'm just like eat up bugs. I'm not being hot. Y'all can eat, but I ain't being hot. So
I asked that because I had a buddy of mine. He was a SEAL out in California, and he told me this one training exercise they did in the desert. It's a live fire drill, so he's rolling through this crevice in the desert, and he feels a sharp thing on his back, just a sharp, and he thought he just fell on like a sharp rock. He's like, oh fuck, I hit a hot rock. That's what he thought. He just keeps doing the exercise. So at the end of the exercise, they go back to base camp. They're all like, showering, whatever. He's in the shower. His buddy's next to him. He's like, holy shit, dude, what happened to your back? And there's 2 fang marks in his back. Shit. His back's swollen up. Oh, fuck. So he goes to the doc. You got bit by a rattlesnake. But the dude is a giant. He's like a little bit bigger than you, just shredded, strong, big dude. And he's like, here, just take, typical corpsman. Just take some ibuprofen. You'll be fine. So he takes some ibuprofen. The next day they go out to the same spot. They find the snake. It's like a freaking 6-foot rattlesnake, dude. Oh, shit. And they kill it. But dude's good to go. Kept operating. So I didn't know if
no run-ins with snakes or spiders. I mean, nothing crazy. I got through that whole thing healthy. Caught rhabdo like once or twice. But
really?
Just overuse. TBS is like I said, you're in and out of the field. So the weeks you're in the field, you're hiking 12, 15 miles a day. You've got all your food, all your water, all your chow, all your ammunition or blanks on you for the entire week. So you're carrying a heavy pack. You're walking through the woods all day, assaulting objectives. And then the weeks you're not in the field, you're in the classroom all day. Well, I'm scared I'm going to get they call it the fat body. So because you're working out all the time, but you're eating shit food. And you're even though you're moving and you're just doing mentally exhausting things, you're also there's a lot of stagnant. So I was afraid I was going to get fat. So every day, like when we would secure for the day, like when we were in, like I would take a kettlebell with me to the field like work out in the field, and then. So I legit just never took a rest day for like five months. I would
the fear of the fat got you going.
I would go up and like on the weekends I'd hit a workout in the morning. Go hang out with the family, and then like the days we'd come out of classroom, as soon as we'd secure, I'd be like running to my truck trying to make it to a CrossFit class, like right out in town. So I'm legit just like eating crap food and breaking down my body for like 4 months, and it finally just like I went full body like cramps on our 15-mile like graduating hike. I had to do that thing all over again. It's literally our last hike, and we're probably like 80, 100 pounds. 15 miles straight on asphalt, so your feet are getting all chopped up. But I'm legit probably less than a quarter mile from the finish line. Like, hey, there's where we got to make it to. And I'd been cramping for like 6 miles. Like it was like 87 degrees that day at 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
So by the time it was like early in the morning, I mean, we're midsummer, mid-July. By the time the sun comes up, it's like 119 degree heat index. Dude. So we're just I think the first like 3 miles you basically just dumped all water, like you had been drinking and retaining. And I got to where I could see the finish line and had my whole body had been cramping. I've been walking on cramped legs for like 3 miles, like quads completely cramped, and then it shot up my back and I just dropped.
No way. You just body just 100% shut down.
Just locked up and dropped, like couldn't move for like 10 minutes. And they come over to like they thought I was heat exhaustion. So they come to give you a silver bullet, like to make sure you're not check your internal core body temp. But like they'll see if you're like present, but I'm like no, like I'm good, like I'm just in full body cramps. And luckily I was from down south, so like my body regulates heat very well. Like I don't overheat. But it just, my body dumps all water like I have. It's just like you're just gonna sweat well. So it was that was pretty wild. Spent like 2-3 days in a hospital.
What
getting
the heck?
Straight IVs.
Yeah.
And,
so then you did the hike again.
Did it all over again. Yeah. So for my 15-mile hike, and he ended up being 29.75. So
good to go. So where'd you end up getting placed out of TBS? Were you infantry?
No. So I ended up. So I wanted to either do CI HUMINT, so human intelligence officer. So
interrogation action.
Yeah, interrogation. That was what I really wanted, but one guy finished right above me, so he got CI HUMINT, and that was like what everybody wanted, because like that's everybody thinks you're going to be like CIA. Like,
yeah.
But
what's that movie, Zero Dark 30, where they got the guys?
But I want to do an intelligence. I thought intelligence would be a good mix. I wanted to be challenged. I want to be surrounded by like some very intelligent individuals.
Yeah.
And I also thought that would like transition well out of the Marine Corps. So if I want to go work for a 3-letter agency, that was also something I had wanted to do like growing up. I thought that was like super cool. FBI, CIA, DEA, something like that. So did intelligence, ended up getting signals intelligence. So
what is that exactly?
So signals intelligence, like my Marines were basically trained to track, intercept, hack enemy communications.
Basically IT radio wave stuff, or just different?
So radio waves, operating in the electromagnetic spectrum. Like there's a lot of stuff that it can break off in, but can't go into all of it. But went into that. So from there, from OCS, I went to SIOC, Signals Intelligence Officer course. You learn about the whole background of what signals intelligence is, what it does, how to plan for it, how to train your Marines on it. And so spent like 4.5 months in Dam Neck, Virginia. Awesome. I mean, very like classroom school. Like they give you a great foundational knowledge, but at the end of the day, like you got to go out with the fleet and learn it.
Right.
So got out to the fleet.
Where was your first actual platoon or duty station after you finished all the...
Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Okay.
I went to 2nd Radio Battalion. I didn't realize how nerdy it was, how nerdy everybody was before I got there. It was pretty wild. Like I was like the unicorn guy, like in the Marine Corps, like in the Marine Corps, everybody like works out all the time. So like that's pretty standard, but you go to Radio Battalion, you stick out like a sore thumb if you like work out. Like, but I mean, it was an incredible experience. Like all my Marines were extremely intelligent. The standard like trouble you hear from different, like you talk to a lot of officers who are like, oh man, I was getting my Marines out of jail every weekend. Like, all my Marines were drunk. Like, fights, blah, blah, blah. Like I had none of those problems. Like,
my Marines were playing video games all week.
Video games. I mean, dude, they would spend all their money on server racks and video game stations to go in their dorm rooms. They would do like try and hack cell phones on the weekends, like down in Wilmington. So
that's crazy, dude. Because my first duty station was communication officer, so basically the Navy equivalent, not the intelligence side, but you know, my guys were ITs, and they did the same.
Ones and zeros, man. Ones and zeros. It's
the best part about ITs though in the Navy is like if you're on a ship, you get the most air conditioning out of the entire ship, and you control everyone's internet. So if someone pisses you off, you're like, all right, you don't have internet for a day, you know?
There you go. So it was definitely like Beautiful Minds type deal. Like I'm sure it's a lot different. The people you were surrounded with on a day-to-day basis were a lot different from who you grew up with, who your buddies were, like playing World of Warcraft and stuff like that. And like, but it was awesome because like, I mean, you've got extremely intelligent young Marines, young Navy enlisted who are
way smarter than us.
Exactly. Way smarter. And you just get an opportunity to like kind of guide that. All them wanted to know about like, hey, how do I get stronger? So it's like, hey, what do I do to work out and stuff like that. But I mean, I had a freaking incredible time. Like, so I was basically a platoon commander for 3 years. I did some assistant operations officer stuff, some alpha, some other things while I was there, but I was working up for deployments the entire time. Like I said earlier, we had 3 canceled deployments. So it was like, hey, work up. We did 1 training deployment to Norway.
Yeah. What was that like when you guys were in Norway? Did you get any downtime, or you're just training the whole time?
We got a little bit of downtime.
To explore a little bit,
but it was more like sitting in a remote camp in the middle of Norway because there's no combat operations over there. You're training for combat operations, but the Marine Corps likes to simulate very well. So you're sitting in some remote camp. Our showers blew away like day 2. So like it's very windy. You get like 4 hours of direct sunlight,
really?
6 hours total. So we were in a valley. So it's dark for like 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
And the Marine Corps, and they hadn't realized yet, but now they supplement you with vitamin D while you're over there.
Really?
Because you're not
because
getting
of lack of sunlight.
You're not getting enough sunlight.
Holy smokes!
Dudes were like offing themselves left and right. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's extremely depressed. It's dark all the time. It's fucking cold. Like it's not fun.
Yeah.
But I had to work out like twice a day. I would go like in the dark.
Yeah.
Just be outside of my tent, just with a full happy suit on, working out and just trying to like stay sane, stay motivated.
You probably got a lot of downtime too in the training scenarios, you know.
I mean it was a lot of sitting, like a little go, a lot of sitting, a little hiking, a lot of sitting. We got to like go out in town a few times, which I mean it was cool, but I was just ready to get back to the States. It was like everybody says like, oh, Norway must have been incredible and beautiful. And you ain't traveled with the Marine Corps yet.
Yeah.
So,
y'all eating plenty of MREs, or they had some other kind of...
Actually, the food was incredible. They had like this like catered company that came in, and it was all you can eat. I mean, we only did 2 meals a day. Yeah. But dude, you stuffed. You stuffed. But that was when we were back at base camp. But when we were out, it was MREs the whole time. Some of the stuff got frozen. It's like it was in the negatives basically the entire time we were there. So
holy cow,
no good. But did that 3 years. Went through a lot of different workups, a lot of different platoons. But like I said, great experience. Like people ask me if I miss Marine Corps. Like don't miss the Marine Corps, but like miss the Marines every day.
Yeah,
like that's like what you join for, is like to be surrounded by those like awesome individuals. I mean, anyone who serves is very not selfish. So I think that was awesome.
Now, was all this out of Camp Lejeune?
All of it was out of Camp Lejeune. And then like I said earlier, it came to the point to where they were like, I was working up for a MEU. Yeah. The MEU kept getting shifted further to the right because of ships breaking, and COVID started becoming a thing. And it was like, hey, our deployment's getting shifted. Like, you're going to have to extend for 6 months. And I had already been displaced from my family for some time. So it came to the point to where like, hey, you either extend or you decide to get out. And you just accept 1 year orders to go over to an artillery unit and be the intelligence officer over there. So just for the family situation, that's what I decided to do. Like, hey, like let's start looking at what's life after the Marine Corps.
And where was your family during this time? They were in Lejeune with you, or they were
in Maryland.
They were in Maryland.
So she lived up with her parents. It just kind of
worked out better.
So moved into that. Moved into the intelligence officer position for 110, so artillery unit. That was awesome.
Artillery is pretty cool.
So it was cool. We got to go to the field with them, and it was, I mean, you were surrounded by, it was like typical Marine Corps. It was like everybody wants to work out, and like you go to the field and carry dumbbells, and like everybody has kettlebells, and
you got some cool trucks to drag the artillery equipment around.
It's just a cool, like, learning how the big guns operate. My role for the year I was there, like, the intelligence officer role is to provide intelligence updates to the commander on his battle space and enemies and stuff like that. When you're deployed, when you're not deployed, you do a lot of security. Make sure the battalion's up to the security recommendations or requirements by headquarters Marine Corps. So you make sure everybody's got their clearance and all that type of stuff. But still an awesome experience, and did some internships in the last like few months I was out, and
So when you were getting out, did you have any terminal leave or anything like that? Is that when you were doing your internships? Or
Well, so like the internship was allowed like while you're on active duty. They actually gave us, it was
that's like a new thing, I'm pretty sure, a transition
corporate fellowship program. Okay. It was like a 13 weeks. I was like TAD. So for 13 weeks.
Legit, dude. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Worked for a company, like I said, started looking into being on the signal side. I wasn't sure if like I wanted to take that, because that's highly sought after, like software, internet security, that type of stuff is highly sought after. But like, I felt that it was growing so fast, like especially in the information security, it's growing so fast. Like, you almost have to be extremely passionate about it to where you're going home at night and like reading more about that stuff. And that was never really me. Like that was the
guys that were under like your Marines. That's their thing.
Yeah. You know? Like they were all very aware of like the new updates, what's going on. Cause that's what they would go home and just read about that stuff, cause they enjoyed it and they loved it. I would get out of the skiff every day and go be outside and working out and stuff.
Got the kettlebell, good to go.
So I was trying to decide. I was like, man, do I want to like I have this experience, this valuable experience? Do I want to carry this on, or do I want to find something that's more like closely aligned to like who I am and what I want to do? Like, am I fighting a losing battle, like trying to be this
something that you're not?
But I did an awesome internship with a company called Point 3 Federal. They were up in Baltimore.
That's cold.
Yeah, a bunch of guys from the, like NSA essentially like designed it's like a gaming platform for cyber hackers and stuff like that. So
interesting.
You could employ it to like either federal or private. Basically, you could test people on their ability. Like, people says, hey, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I have these credentials. Okay, do you really? Here, do this and see if this provides us feedback on how talented you are. So it was like a little world inside its own world for them to.
So when you were doing that, were you realizing like, hey, I don't want to do this? Or
exactly. I mean, I still like, it's still got to the point to where like, hey, if something pays well enough, like, I'm still good at this. It's just not a passion for me. On the intelligence officer side, especially signals, like my talent was taking nerd and relating it to grunt. So that was always my job. Is my Marines would tell me this, and I'd have to tell an infantry commander been an infantry commander for 20 years. Like, hey, this is what this means for you, blah, 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 back and forth. So,
which is a super important skill set to develop.
Nerd to grunt. You know? So, like, I had that skill. I was good at it. So I knew that if I did go into something like that, I could go get a briefing from some guys who are working on this project and makes this person understand it. Right. The general population understand it, because it's very descriptive and very, I guess at times difficult to understand. But I felt that I was good at that. So I was still kind of holding that close to me. Like, hey, if I still interviewing for some jobs and stuff like that, and if I end up doing that, it could work out. Yeah, I'd do well in it.
So what else were you looking into? You're like, hey, this ain't my passion. I could do it if I needed to, but what else were you kind of looking into? I
basically opened myself up to some JMO recruiting firms, so junior military officer recruiting firms.
Okay, so helping people transition.
Yeah, that's literally their job. They go out and they take your resume and they work with X number of companies. I mean, JMOs are highly sought after coming out of the military, because you have a high level of leadership responsibility, and responsibility for like finances and you're responsible for $1 million worth of equipment, all kinds of crazy stuff at a very young age that you wouldn't be responsible for if you were on the civilian side of things. Right. So,
and real quick, when you were transitioning, were you like a first lieutenant or a captain?
I was a captain.
You're a captain. Okay.
So the JMOs are highly sought after. So I was working with a JMO recruiting firm. He would essentially set up interviews. I'd go to these interviews. I'd interview with these different companies. And then we'd go on a second stage, third stage. I'd decide if this was something I wanted to do or not. And then, I mean, that went through that's like 4-month process. I mean,
do you have a lot of companies chasing you, or
yeah. I mean, you definitely have a lot of companies like looking for what you provide to the table, especially if you interview well and you're somewhat polished.
Yeah,
you're a little smart.
Yeah.
So yeah, I looked at like Johnson & Johnson. I was looking at another one of their companies, Ethicon, which did like pharmaceutical sales. I was looking at a company called Sunrise Medical. They were like a Quest and like LabCorp competitor for lab services. So like, I did a lot of like soul searching and really decided like, hey, what do I want to do next? What am I passionate about? And I found that I was more passionate about like a lifestyle. I liked the ability to, like, I'm extremely internally driven. I like the ability to control my own schedule. To be the go-to guy. Like, hey, I can deliver on this.
Subject matter expert type situation.
So as I started going more through understanding what that is and what that does, I started to land on sales. Like sales is no one's holding your hand out there. Like it's on you to, hey, this is your territory. This is your mission. Go execute. Go figure out how it needs to be accomplished. Go execute. You have to be resourceful. You got to be able to deliver. You got to be able to sell somebody on what you're delivering. Just like in the military, you're selling someone on the capability you're providing to that commander.
And in this case, your take-home pay is probably linked to your performance.
Which was also another awesome thing, and something I also that was rough about the military. I'm sure you experienced it as well. Like, you have some guys who, I mean, they make it through the program. They can't leave fish to water.
They still get paid the same.
And they still get paid the same. And you get, if you're good at what you do in the military, you get more responsibility.
Exactly.
And you're still getting paid like Joe Slapdick over here who has no business doing what he's doing. But I mean, he's going home at 3:00 and has no responsibilities because people don't want him to fuck anything up. So that was another thing. Is like, hey, you are paid based on your ability to deliver. So I thought that was always awesome.
Yeah. So where'd you end up at? Where are you at now?
So I am currently with a company called Camphil. So Camphil was one of the companies I interviewed with. It just really clicked. The role they offered me. They're an international Swedish-based organization, but they do filtration, HVAC filtration. Primary customers are like government facilities, hospitals, industrial manufacturers.
So basically, a purification filtration system for the air in the building comes back through the system.
So we do more. We do some filtration systems for like dust collection, but we do more filtration where like Trane does the HVAC heating and cooling units themselves. We do like the filters but we do like dust collection, clean air room, like purifiers. So individual air room purifiers. So I mean, I found that would, in addition to the job they were offering me, and the things that came along with it, I thought that was awesome. They were offering me the ability to move down here, back home, back to South Carolina, here in Charleston, beautiful Charleston, South Carolina. Have that territory, control my own schedule, like have my own mission, get compensated on how I'm able to deliver. But also like HVAC is something I really knew nothing about, but it's also, I mean, it's not freaking rocket science. Like,
exactly.
You push filtration and eventually you can become a subject matter expert. I mean, in the past 20 years, HVAC hasn't changed that much.
I mean, it's pretty basic,
So I thought that was cool. Like, I still have my outside passions. I can continue to grow as an individual in my career, learn more about becoming an asset and a consultant to that, but still have my outside passions and stuff I enjoy.
So what's your territory right now? Is it the whole state or
no? So I control the southeast of South Carolina, basically anything from I-20. You get I-20 runs from northeast to southwest, basically everything southeast of I-20. I mean, have some accounts in Colombia, stuff like that.
So you'll basically transit around to meet with your people.
Yeah, meet with my people. I mean, COVID's offered some like unique because a lot of hospitals and stuff like that. Like I'll meet with some people on Teams or virtual. A lot of phone calls. But if there's any specific situations, like I'll go out and I'm more just the guy that make sure that delivery happens. Camfill's an awesome company. I mean, we're like a $200 million company in the U.S. and in Sweden and Europe, they control like 80 to 90% market share of that. But they're a more product and performance based company. So like that's what I wanted to do is have a company who had a strong like we deliver something of value to the customer.
Right.
So we build a lot of air filter manufacturers and stuff like that. Like they put the cheapest 3M, they put the cheapest paper towel up there wrapped in cardboard.
You guys are quality, basically.
Quality. And I mean, it comes with a price tag, but it offers a lot of unique benefits with labor reduction, energy reduction. I mean, indoor air quality itself, like
which especially in today's world is huge.
Exactly. And people don't realize like you drink a gallon, 2 gallons of water a day. You consume 80 gallons of air. So like their big Camfill's big mission statement is we think air quality or quality air should be a human right. Just like everything else should be. So
you work with any dog kennels or anything? Because you'd be surprised how many of those need air filtration.
No, I do a lot of stuff. Yeah, that'd be good. I've looked at a lot of like stuff that you wouldn't think would have very serious like air filtration problems. Rock climbing gyms, all the chalk and stuff in there. It's nuts, man. Like they have serious problems because all those guys are athletes. So like you don't want to be breathing that stuff in all day. But gun ranges, they're big because all the gunpowder and stuff like that. So those are unique customers. I mean, of course, hospitals. There's like a lot of around here. A lot of people supply Boeing and Volvo. So there's a lot of little companies that do paint, that do fiberglass, a lot of boat manufacturers. A lot of
boat manufacturers around here, and they're building more. You know,
so it's been great so far, man. I enjoy the company. I have a great boss. I have a great like foundational team. And just really enjoying it. Happy like with where I'm at. So
y'all might check out some vet offices or dog kennels or boarding facilities because like I know. Like if one dog comes in there with some kind of virus or bacteria, they cough, for example. All the dogs in there are getting it unless they got a air purification filtration system. You know?
I mean, people don't understand there's different levels of filters. Like filters based on their media and stuff like that, they can have better. They'll catch more particles. So a smaller particle, they have micron ratings is what we call them. So micron rating and MERV rating mean the smaller the particle is they catch smaller particles than other ones. And I mean it's
pretty intense.
It's pretty impressive stuff. But it's I don't know, hopefully something that hasn't caught on big here is schools, man. Like that's an obvious. We're willing to put masks on our kids all the time, but like most of these schools around here, it's sad. Like I go in and I'm like, hey, I've got this air filter that's going to perform better for you, and I've got individual air room purifiers and all this stuff and stuff that we can provide to our school systems, which will undoubtedly improve the indoor air quality and the health of our students. But I mean, they've seen a lot up in New York. They do it, but like down here in South Carolina, I just haven't seen it yet.
They don't care as much.
I mean, they say they care, but then they'll put a cheap 3M up in there. Unit and just ride with it. So it's like,
well, like let's say you take one of your systems. Let's say you got a classroom, like an average school classroom, which might be the size of your whole space right here. Let's say you put one unit in there. How much air is it purifying in like an hour? Does it take the whole room, cycle it through in an hour, or is it?
500 CFM.
So I mean, you got kids wearing masks, or you can have the purification system, which alleviates the mask, which helps the kid focus more and provides more pure air.
I mean, it's just sad. We've seen all this stuff come out about masks aren't actually doing what they're intended. Like they're not having the effects.
Well, you think about it like that little thing. It's just just going out the side.
Yeah, exactly. And the COVID lives. It's an airborne virus, so it lives in the water particles. So it's. I mean, if you can purify the air, that's what it's going to do.
Yeah, you alleviate it.
So, but yeah,
hopefully one day people will start to pay more attention to that. Yeah.
Common sense.
By the way, I love every time you post some good stuff on your stories. You know, you're reposting things. I'm like watching it. You know, it's like crazy what people are saying.
It's nuts, man. It's crazy how common sense has just went out the window in like the past 2-3 years. It's like it's
insane.
It's not that hard to see the writing on the wall, but
so on the side, while you got this new job, are you still training CrossFit? What are you doing?
So still training CrossFit. I mean, that's a major goal of mine.
So right now you're like, you got this new sales job. Are you looking like, hey, I want to become a CrossFit athlete. I want to do other things on the side. My personal life, you know.
Yeah, I mean the CrossFit is a major goal of mine. It's been a goal of mine for some time. Like it's just the entire time I've been doing it since 2016. It's increased. It's made me a better person. I mean, some of the people in the CrossFit gyms, it's just people are willing to suffer. Like CrossFit, it's uncomfortable. It's not fun all the times. You're going to that uncomfortable space every day. I think that translates very well to people who are trying to grow as individuals. So if you're willing to be uncomfortable for 5-10 minutes a day, like very uncomfortable, then you just start to see those people trying to grow, not just in their fitness, but as better fathers, husbands, wives, moms.
The thing about CrossFit too versus like a traditional gym is it's a community, because you go there at a certain time
and you all work out together. One team, one fight, kind of that.
And you might be the biggest, strongest dude in the room, but the newbie just coming in, they find inspiration from you. You can give them some tips. Hey, don't do what I did, 20 years ago or 15 years ago. I learned that lesson the hard way. Try this,
So, no, I mean, I do CrossFit because of what the exterior benefits it offers me, and like how it continues to force me or allow me to grow in all the other roles I serve. Like CrossFit's like last on, like I have many other roles first, but it contributes so much. The training I do contributes so much to those other roles. It keeps me motivated, keeps me driving, moving the needle forward and stuff like that. So
basically what I hear you saying is like, hey, CrossFit is doing this much stuff to the rest of my life, so I like doing it. And then just your performance there has kind of attracted some attention to you. Is that kind of what happened?
I mean, I've had some success, like local competitions. I've done pretty well. I just like, that's what I know. I've been an athlete my entire life. I know how to train. I mean, it's part of health. I mean, you gotta get in and move your body every day.
Right.
I want to be that dude when I'm 70 who can still get after it with my grandkids and stuff like that. So, I mean, the other things I do, like you have to be able to protect your family. It's just so important on so many aspects. And, I mean, like I said, I've been an athlete my entire life. So I think it really just offers me a medium to continue to be competitive. So I love stepping on that competitive stage. We're gonna make a run for it. Rhapsody Fitness, they CrossFit Rhapsody downtown Charleston. They sent a team to the games last year. I fit kind of best as in the sport of CrossFit. Like if you're an individual athlete, you need to be a full-time athlete these days. You can't have another job, have a family, and still
perform at a high
level. Like you need to be training like 5-6 hours a day. The dudes that do very well. I mean, Matt Frazier, the 5 times games athlete or 5-time CrossFit champion, fittest man on earth. I mean, he was training like 4 or 5 hours a day. Had someone that cooked his food for him. If he didn't,
his recovery's on point.
Recovery's on point. Someone's writing his program. if he didn't sleep 8 hours a day, he didn't train the next day. So
That's
it's just
insane.
like it's just full devotion. That's the level it takes. But the team side of things still offers me to be competitive, but still serve in all of these other roles that and be present and serve in all these other roles. I can train for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, check the box, and then go do the other things I needed to do, continue to provide for my family. Be somewhat present with the lady and the kids.
Yeah.
So
you're on the Rhapsody team. You're also sponsored by Never Fucking Quit, or known as NFQ.
Yep.
Or you got any other sponsorships?
So Recovery in Motion. That's
right.
So she sponsors me on my recovery aspect. So does some dry needling, does some cupping. I mean, I'm beating up the body all day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
So
what have you found to be your best recovery tactics? You know, what's helping you the most recovery wise?
I really try and recover 2 days a week. So Thursdays, Sundays. I stretch every night. Dry needling has really helped.
What's that doing for you?
So dry needling,
basically
it's essentially like acupuncture, but very small needles. They put it in and they move it around, and it.
Do you feel it when she's like?
Oh yeah, you feel it. It's in there moving around.
She knows exactly where to put it.
Yeah, if you're scared of needles, it's probably not highly recommended. She'll shove like 10 or 15 in me at a time and just be like.
Shit.
But it essentially, it's your muscles go into a fight or flight response, and they can only fight the needle for so long, so it tells them to relax.
Really?
So like if something's very tensed up, boom, boom, boom. At first it feels like mud. She's poking it, and the needle's like, your muscle's like, oh, like, all right.
So once it relaxes, it's allowing blood to come in there.
And allows blood to come in. Just essentially
in
triggers that recovery response that you're looking for. That's been awesome. So she sponsored me on that. She's been awesome helping me get recovered every week.
Does she do any puts you on a table, stretches you a certain way? Does she do that?
She will do that if it's like, she does scraping. So like Graston.
Yeah.
IASTM, it's also called instrument assisted soft tissue mobility. Whatever she needs to do, we'll go through some.
You do that routinely, or is that just as needed? The scraping and the concept of scraping.
I let her. She's the doctor. So
okay.
You
just let her tell you what to do.
I tell her
what she needs.
Parts of my body that are bothering me, and she goes in and says, "All right, we're going to do this. We're going to do that." So she's got the doctorate. So I let her. Let her lead me.
But have you, talking about, recovery in motion, we've talked about her before on the Heather Foss podcast, the Titus Strength and Conditioning or Strength and Fitness owner. Were you having any major issues before you started seeing her that now have kind of resolved based on the recovery tactic she's taken?
I broke my wrist 2 years ago. I was doing a Marine Corps fitness competition. It was probably part overuse. I was training for that. I was doing CrossFit. CrossFit's very grip intensive.
Yeah.
We often don't, and then we're like on our phones all day. We're on computers. So our forearms and stuff like that get a lot of overuse. Like I said, CrossFit, everything, you're holding onto a barbell, you're holding onto a rig, kettlebells, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I was probably like, these muscles were so tight. I came over an obstacle, my foot got caught, and I caught myself here, didn't realize I really did it. Thought I just jammed it because I'd had jammed my wrist a few times doing CrossFit before. Went like 2 months thinking it would just unjam and relax. Finished the competition, but had ended up severing a ligament and then breaking 2 bones in here. So it's been a slow. They said like, hey, you need to have hand surgery.
I was about to ask if you had surgery.
Yeah. You need to repair the ligament, but I'm like, dude, it was ended up going to be a tendon graft. So scrape the tendon, put it down on top, screw.
Yeah.
Go in let it heal. 4 months later, go in, remove the screws.
Oh,
hope it holds.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, hey, lose your arm for 8 months or take 2 years and see if you can get all your movements back. So I'm still working through a lot of that. It made a lot of competitions I did kind of scary because I didn't have a few movements for a long time, and I'm still like working through a full front rack. But she's helped out a lot in that. Just my progress has been incremental. I mean, it's been huge in the past few months. So my body responds very well to that dry needling, kind of like, hey, force the opening, now open up a little bit more. It's just, and from doing that, I put my body in positions for so long trying to compensate that certain muscle groups shut off. So just kind of retraining that mind-body connection. That's been awesome.
How'd the Never Fucking Quit sponsorship come about? How'd that all start?
NFQ.
They got some good shit, dude. Ever since I've been on your Instagram, I got some of their shorts and all that. They got really nice shorts, dude.
So that's actually how it started.
Really?
The shorts. So like when I was in the military, I mean, you come in for the end of the day, you have all your sweaty stuff in a bag, you just throw it in the wash, pack your bag for tomorrow.
Or you just use it the next day. Some people do that, dude.
Some people do.
I don't know how they do that.
Can't do that shit. Not me. But essentially come in, throw another pair of shorts in your bag. You got all your whole gym bag packed up for the day, all your meals, if you're trying to stay on track. So I was really just looking for some shorts that would be like easy. I mean, they'd have like a mesh underwear, built-in underwear, something, so I didn't have to pack an extra pair of underwear. I just grabbed simplicity. I'm a simple guy. I like a simple life.
I'm surprised you like underwear. You might as well just go ahead.
I don't always. But
I've seen a lot of Marines out there in their skivvies, and they ain't got no underwear on.
I think they Lejeune outlawed skivvy shorts in the gym. You couldn't be wearing the silkies as they call
the silkies.
Yeah, you couldn't be wearing those. Too much floppage.
Well, they started building them with the mesh in them.
But just was like looking around, found NFQ. And ordered some of their shorts, just really liked them, bought 2-3 pairs. Those are my gym shorts. And then started looking more into the mindset. And that's always been a resilient, relentless, never fucking quit. No matter what happens to you in life, you continue to push forward. One of my favorite quotes by Phil Knight was, the cowards never started. The weak died along the way. That leaves us. But so that was just the mindset of NFQ. I related really well with it. I love their products. I started tagging them in some Instagram stuff. I would just upload my workout videos that I was doing, and then they reached out to me and was like, "Hey man, we love what you're putting out. We'd like to have some more conversations." Had a meeting with their owner Taylor. And we hit it off right away. Like, hey man, we want to make you a sponsored athlete. So they send me monthly care packages of all the goodies. They brought me out to Arizona here recently.
Is that where their HQ's at?
Yeah. Okay. So they were in California and San Diego for a long time. But they were smart people, made the move to Arizona. Got out of fucking California. And so they're living the good life in Arizona now. And opened up got a much bigger facility, so it's allowing them to expand. And good things coming for those guys. So.
And Taylor, I believe he was PJ, or he was in the Navy. Okay, gotcha. I trained a dog for a guy recently who said he knew the owners, and I think that he was Air Force,
the other owner, the other Taylor, he was a PJ in the Air Force. So
cool, man. So you're doing some trips for them. They're sponsoring you. Good to go. I seen you posted a WOD on their. I believe on their page recently.
We'll do some WOD weeks, all the different athletes. I mean, they have athletes from all over, from powerlifting, Olympic lifting, some MMA fighters. So they'll reach out to us, be like, hey man, will you write us a workout for the week? Kind of motivate, get the community going. So write a workout for them from time to time. It's good stuff.
Good to go, man. Yeah. So jumping back into kind of the recovery side of things, when did you start to tune in your nutrition, and what are you doing now? Are you tracking macros? Are you building them around performance? What's your nutrition style look like?
So nutrition, I got into probably about a year and a half ago. I had a buddy who owns Blackheart CrossFit up in Jacksonville, North Carolina. He sent me the the ebook for the vertical diet. So the vertical diet developed by Stan Efferding. He's a pro bodybuilder and
powerlifter guy.
Yeah. Which is
he's with Elite Fits right now.
Yeah.
So he trains with them.
I always thought was super impressive because like, hey, professional can look good and perform.
Yeah.
So I thought that was super cool. But essentially the diet is a T-based structured diet. So you are prioritizing maximum food. So you want to get your body to perform for you, meaning you can eat as much nutrient dense food as possible and digest it easily. Your body's doing one of two things, either digesting food or performing. So you want to get extremely nutrient dense food, caloric dense food in your body, especially high level athletes that are trying to get their body to grow and perform.
Yeah.
So you want to get as much of those foods in quickly that's going to easily digest. It's not going to cause a lot of strain on your on
GI
your digestive system.
Yeah.
So it's like, it calls it low in FODMAP map vegetables. So not really any broccoli or cauliflower or any stuff like that. That stuff's hard to digest. Mainly white rice, red meat. That they don't outlaw chicken or fish. You can eat it, but
beef is king.
Beef is king. The thought process behind that is, hey, we want to be strong. We eat a strong animal. We eat something that's been, I mean, you think about chicken, they pump it full of stuff. It's dead in 60 days. It's eating freaking corn. Beef is grass fed over years, and it builds. I mean, you look at a freaking cow, that thing's freaking stout.
You see a nice big bull out there. They got some delts on them. They got some quads.
And beef and red meat has the highest amino acid or amino dense protein source, so you're getting the most nutrients from that.
Something
white
else
rice
too about beef, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's got a really good protein to fat ratio. Versus chicken, very low fat, high protein. You need fats for your hormones and all that,
And then white rice, like a lot of people have carb sensitivities. White rice is the most easily digestible carb source. You can also do sweet potatoes. Their vegetables are like green peppers and spinach. The diet goes fully through like prioritizing sleep, getting adequate water and salt intake. So it's a holistic diet. It's not just like, hey, eat this. It once you read through the whole ebook, it starts at sleep, hormone optimization, making sure things are in check. Then, all right, let's get into your carb source. You're eating that red meat. You're getting these vegetables in, and then you're getting some other things like it's like daily 8 ounces of orange juice for vitamin C, like supplement with vitamin D, sodium. Make sure most people are getting plenty of sodium because they're eating McDonald's all day. But when you're eating that clean, salt is a extremely potent
for electrolyte
nutrient for electrolyte replenishment, for water retention, for making sure a lot of your internal systems operate the way they're supposed to operate. I've been on that for about a year and a half, and it's great. It's the best I've ever felt. When you follow it to a T, you feel clear. I mean, you never have any, like, people think like gas and like digestion issues are like normal. They're not. So that's been an awesome like diet routine that I've been on. And
so do you have like you're doing primarily vertical diet stuff? Do you have like a macro count every day that you incorporate to your vertical diet, or you just crushing as much as you can,
No, so I have if I ate whatever I wanted, I'd be like probably 260 pounds. Like I'm just, I just can from being and playing football, like my body is like, has been there before. So it knows it can go back there. So even with the serious amount of like endurance training I'm doing, I still will get up there. So I follow like a strict, macro count. I think I'm at like 230 protein, 350 carbs and like 100, either 90 or 100 grams of fat.
But you built that yourself, or
no. So I was my teammate, one of my teammates from Rhapsody. She actually programmed those macros for me. She trains athletes and runs a little nutrition business on the side.
Nice.
So she's got me doing those. I mean, I've had all kinds of. I tried M2 Performance. They program for like games athletes, and they do like an awesome. It's like $75 or $100 for the year, and they reprogram your macros like 3 times. I mean, he programs for games athletes, CrossFit games athletes. So
do you have to reprogram yours often, or they pretty much stay?
I mean, not often. I mean, if you go through different stages, like right now, I'm on this one. I will probably continue this. It's keeping me like I feel good. If I up my training intensity, so as we get close to like if everything goes well and we end up qualifying for the games, as we get close to games, like my training will probably go up significantly, both in intensity and volume. So I will probably increase my caloric intake around that time just to make sure I'm healing properly.
Now, even on your off days, you still got the same macro count.
Yeah.
And you said your recovery days are Thursday, Sunday right now?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends like on what I got going on, like competition wise. Like this Sunday, I'll be competing in Fittest of the Coast, so Sunday's not rest day this week. But yeah, I mean, I just alternate week to week. I try and get 2 in. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just because of it's in the week and I've got work and stuff like that, my training intensity and volume is a little lower. So I'll go 3 days, and then I have Friday, I rest on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, usually higher volume
Those
days.
are your heavy hitters.
Week. Saturday we're going hard at it because no work and stuff like that. And then Sunday, hit church, spend time with the family. Like I might come in the garage gym and move a little bit, but I won't do anything.
I was going to ask, on your recovery days, you do any like
I'll do
routines or anything?
On Thursdays, I do an active recovery day. So like I train with the owner of CrossFit Fox Den as well. So we'll go in and do some or hop on a cardio machine, and then I do ROMWOD every night. So a little stretching routine. And that's been awesome. But that's usually Thursday is definitely an active recovery. I do some sort of like 20-minute cardio machine, either a rower or a bike or Concept 2 bike, ski. And then Sunday, I mean, I'll do a warm up just to like move my body and like feel good. Do some
Sunday. You're throwing the boys around a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But Sunday is
Wrestling
I take more of a
kids.
focus on like full rest. I try not to spend 10, 15 minutes on a machine. Just let my body really heal. Stuff like that. So.
What's your kind of like morning routine like? You know, what time you waking up? What are you doing to get started for the day on a typical day?
So I thought about this. So my morning routine is like very, I guess, very scripted. Like I've increased a lot of things over time. So like before get into morning routine, like I want to explain like the thought behind the process. So like, as I spoke about earlier, like compound interest was something I learned early on. So small actions daily that will move the needle in the right direction. Like you don't have to do everything in one day, but if you do all these things, so all these small things in a day to day over and over again, in a year or 3 years or 5 years, like it's just really impressive what you can accomplish. Like Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So if you do excellence every day, you decide what you want to accomplish. You set goals of when I built this, I was like, all right, what do I want to be in where do I want to be in a year, 3 year, 5 years? Okay. This is the type of man I want to be. This is the type of person I want to be. This is where I want my fitness to be. What does that person do? What would that type? What would it look like that person would do daily? So focus on the performance. Focus on daily performance, not the result. Daily execution. So like my morning routine, so I get up every day. The first thing I do is I have a morning mindset. I can share that if y'all want.
Yeah, what was your one for this morning, if you don't mind?
So it's the same thing every day.
Oh, every day. Okay.
So I kind of wrote something, and it's our mind is an incredibly powerful tool. Like if you don't believe you can, then you most likely won't. I'm not sure. I can't remember the exact quote, but like, you have to believe in yourself and believe you can accomplish something if you're going to accomplish something. So every morning I read this. I am destined for greatness. I am strong and kind. I am powerful and successful. I am a man of character. I am a heroic father, husband, and leader of men. I am patient and loving. I am a successful salesman. So I put the piece in about my career because I deliver results and am true to my word, and I am the solution to problems. So then I broke into the athlete portion. I'm an unstoppable athlete. I have extraordinary talent. My work ethic and relentless attack of my weaknesses will pay off. I am willing to suffer more than anyone else to achieve my goals. I will qualify for the CrossFit Games. I will win Fittest of the Coast individual and team. I am wise and generous. I am the protector of the weak. I am chosen for a purpose. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and God will lead and guide my virtuous actions. God knows my name, and I have nothing to lose because I am built for a time such as this. So that's first thing I do when I wake up every morning. Like that's like, and I think that goes into a lot of like my ability to execute in certain situations. Like you put those things in your mind daily. Like it's crazy what your mindset can do. Yeah. So from there, get up, go in the kitchen, 8 ounces of water, replenish those electrolytes, usually throw a little salt in there, vertical diet. Take my vitamins, do some apple cider vinegar, put some, kind of heal that gut microbiome. Go upstairs, 5-minute cold shower. So immediately, I started that when I started 75 hard, but I really have like carried it with me because I'm not a morning person. I don't enjoy the mornings. But
what time normally you wake up? Normally what time you
about 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Yeah. Sometimes it varies. Like this week, I've been trying to get a little more sleep just because I've got a competition coming up. But usually 6 is like go time to get help get the kids up and stuff like that. But
you hit that cold shower. I know you don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that. I usually have to take a deep. I give myself one deep breath before I step in, and then it's like, all right, then you're in there, and then
you got a timer. That way you don't cheat yourself. Or
I'll turn a watch on. So I'll do that 5-minute cold shower, and I mean it's like get on the water and I'll like stand over in the corner, like brush my teeth, freaking tongue scraper. I have like a little wrist extensor. I do 50 each side.
Nice.
So I get the reverse side of that grip that I work all the time. I know that's something I've had issues with in the past, so I need to
actually
improve
just start
on that.
doing that 2 weeks ago.
So I read Atomic Habits a few years ago, and that really builds into, hey, you think about each thing you want to accomplish daily, and you build in a time and place that happens. So scrape that tongue, get all that nasty gunk off your freaking tongue that you've been brush the teeth, feeling good, cold shower. I don't do it as much for, like, it started as more of like, they say there's like, it increases your testosterone levels. It helps with recovery. Like I've done plenty of cold tubs, like growing up through football, but it's more just like mindset. I'm like you do that first thing in the morning, you feel freaking unstoppable. You're like, dude, like bring on the rest of the day. Like, what you got to throw at me? That cold shower sucks. But, so go from there, come in, get clothes on, come downstairs. Usually if I'm not leaving the house, like I'll just throw on workout clothes or whatever I'm doing for the day. And then I have a list of like emails that I've subscribed to. So I have a daily devotional. So come downstairs, daily devotion. Oh, I forgot make my bed. That's what I do.
One
of my key things. Like I think that's
Craven style.
I'm sure you've read that book, but I mean, just accomplishing that one thing first thing in the morning, like, and getting in the bed every night, like when it's after it's been made all day, you can't beat it. But then I start going through my daily thing. So I keep track of it in a way of life. It's an app, and it allows you to check off every single habit. So every day I listen to Dr. Rob Gilbert's Success Hotline. So he records like a 3-minute voicemail. You call in and listen to his voicemail, and he talks you through some motivational aspects, just a little takeaway. More just putting in that positive mindset. Brain training. I have Elevate, the brain training app. It's like 3 games. I'll just play through that real quick. I'll knock out my 10 pages of reading. Right now I'm reading Living with a Seal, which is freaking hilarious. It's I tried to get away from all the SEAL books because all the jokes about the SEAL books. They always write all their. There's every SEAL has a book out there somewhere.
There's some good info in them.
There is some good.
SEAls
info.
are motivators.
They are motivators. But anyways, got back into this one, and it's really it's super easy read, super light read, but just fun. Read through or listen to my devotional. I just finished in 2021. I did a 365-day devotional book with God, I can't remember someone biblical leadership devotional, and took you through like how to lead individuals and stuff. I think that's something we can always improve of, because no matter if you're leading Navy, if you're leading Marines, or you're leading your family, like or employees, you're always leading someone.
Exactly.
What
or
else?
Even if you're in a group with your neighbors.
Yep.
You're leading your neighbors, you know?
Morning Brew. I read through that every morning. You ever read through that? It's like a daily newsletter. They go through market trends, a lot of what's going on, just big stories in the world, what's going on in finance. Just keep me smart on what's going on around the world. And then I start just knocking out my sit down with my journal a little bit, go through my daily priorities that I've set. After that, I'll go in and eat breakfast, whatever I'm deciding to eat that day from the vertical diet. So that's kind of what my morning routine looks like.
Now, whenever you said whenever you mentioned breakfast, I'm eating whatever I'm eating that day. Do you prep like large quantities of this or that, or you just go with the flow?
There's always like a ton of white rice and a ton of red meat in the fridge. But other than that, no, I always like eggs in the morning. I just love, it feels like breakfast. So I usually eat eggs and white rice. Handful of almonds. I mean, sometimes I don't like to be that routine in what I eat every day. I like to just see
go
how
with
I'm
the
feeling.
flow a little bit.
Go with the flow a little bit. So I'll do that. But there's always a lot of white rice and a lot of red meat.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
You ever tried sushi rice, or you just stuck to white rice?
Always the jasmine.
Jasmine rice is good.
That's where it's at.
I got pounds of that.
I like it a little sticky. A little sticky.
Kind of wrapping this up a little bit, you got any major book recommendations? You just mentioned, you do 10 minutes at least, or 10 pages at least, in the morning, part of your morning routine. What are some of your major book recommendations? Some ones that really hit you hard?
So the first one I'll start off with is Fearless by Eric Blem. Have you ever read that? So that was, I can sadly say I never read a book all through elementary, middle, high school. Every book project I had to do, I would do it on the Harry Potter books because you could watch the movie, and even though it's like a little different, I don't think the teachers ever caught on. So never read I don't think I ever completed any of my prescribed reading, even in college. I was always able to I did wing what I wing it, and I did just what I needed to do to get A's and B's, and then I stayed with that. But
when did you start getting into reading?
In between, when I was preparing to go to the Marine Corps. It's readers are leaders and leaders are readers. So that really stuck with me, and I knew I needed to increase my knowledge, increase my capacity. Like before, I mean, school, you can kind of just, some people can just get by on what they're smart enough to wing it. Some people have to study for hours, but when I was preparing to go to OCS, I started realizing like, hey, I need to start learning lessons, not through my own actions, but reading lessons that other people have learned. But honestly, this book, I forgot who gave it to me. God, I should know that. But I read through that book and I was just freaking hooked. And maybe it was because it was the first book I'd really, before that, everyone's telling you what to read. This was the first book that I like picked up, and like I said, had some desires to go to the military. So
what was the underlying message in the book?
So it's the life story of Adam Brown. He was a SEAL, and he just essentially, I mean, it's just an incredible life story. He goes from, I mean, high school athlete to drug addict to going into the Navy, going through buds, completing buds, gets his hand crushed in a rollover, and gets his eye shot with simunitions. So then he's already a SEAL, but he wants to go to DevGru. Goes to DevGru and completes sniper training, which is the hardest sniper training on the face of the planet.
Or
he trained himself from a right eye dominant person to learn how to shoot left hand and left eye dominant. So like just a crazy feat. But his whole life is kind of like that. Like he's just a man of extreme like character. Everybody that knew him, like, so it was his life story, and it was just really awesome and a great book. And it just always sticks with me because it was the first book I ever read cover to cover, and really got me hooked to where I 10 pages every day and just really enjoy reading now. Relentless and Winning by Tim Grover. So he was the performance coach for Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Both of his books are incredible. I mean, he talks about what it takes, what those men had in their mind, and what they had to be prepared for, to be able to accomplish what they accomplished, kind of what their mindset was. So both of those are awesome. He goes through what a closer is in that. So, it's good. It's good. Hey, I was, like I said, Living with a SEAL, just because it's super easy read. I mean, there are some good takeaways from it, but more than anything, it's going to give you some lessons, but it's really easy to read and just funny. It's funny and kind of laid back book. And then you gotta give at least one book by a Marine. So Call Sign Chaos by Bing West. Jim Mattis on Mattis. His lessons from his time serving. I mean, it's just incredibly written, and all the lessons are very well driven home with stories from and how he learned those lessons. So it's awesome.
Nice. Good to go, man.
Are you reading the 10 pages? And I can barely hear myself, Chad, so you have to read what I say. 10 pages is when you read to keep that mindset focused, because like for me, it's hard to read because I have ADD. So is that why, or that fits what you do?
Real quick, let me just rephrase that. Basically, Ben asked if you're reading to maintain a mindset, because maintain your focus on the book, because a lot of people, and this is probably a problem with today, where we expect things here. We got a smartphone, we do this, that. We got so many different taskers going on, so many different things. It can be hard to focus. So is that 10 pages a day to help you tune in and focus, and maybe you read more? Or is that just one of your checklist items? You're like, hey, this is what I got to do. I'm going to do it. Discipline aspect of it,
Yeah. So I mean, it's not necessarily I do it just to maintain focus. It does. I mean, it really maintains focus. You take that time to just go sit down and read 10 pages. But as I spoke about earlier, compound interest, doing little things daily. I didn't want so it started with 75 hard when I did 75 hard. That's what they said in there is 10 pages a day. Why 10 pages a day? Because I think it's an achievable daily goal that you can make sure you do 10 pages. I mean, those 10 pages, it doesn't seem like a lot. Like you think 30 pages, you're like, fuck, man. Like, or 20,
50 pages, you're like, oh,
fuck.
shit.
So it's like, then you end up not doing it. And because it's like, it's that hard, you end up not doing it for days and days and days and days. So like, make it something small enough and achievable that where you can continue the habit day in and day out. And then over the long year, 3 year, 5 years, then you look back and you look at those 3,600 pages you read, and you're like all that knowledge is now in my brain. So it's because I think it's because it's small, but then also, I mean, even for me, it's tough. Even though I have it built in my routine, sometimes I wake up and, emails start flying in, and like stuff starts hitting you, and you're like, fuck, man. So you got to build it in. Like I know people that read before bed. I think it does set my mind up better if I get it done early in the morning. So that's why I do it in the morning. But I mean, I've learned like tricks. Like I don't leave my phone anywhere near me. I'll go put my phone in. I'll throw some headphones in, and listen to, if you ever listen to alpha waves. Have you ever listened to alpha waves? It's pretty wild. So you can just get them on like Spotify or something like that. But it's like weird, like eerie sounds of just like, but it just puts you in the zone. And honestly, it makes reading easier. So it just like quiets your mind. Like they did a lot of studies with it on like PTSD and TBI patients, like their ability to focus. Like it kind of helps your ability to focus because so alpha waves explained it's your brain wave pattern. So alpha, when you listen to the waves or the different wave and frequency, it puts your brain in different. So alpha is the focus pattern, brainwave pattern.
That's crazy.
So that's what it helps. So if you're having a hard time focusing on edits or something like that, throw some alpha, like throw some Beats headphones on and put Spotify on, listen to alpha waves, and it's really crazy. Like if you've never done it before,
I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna try it out.
I mean, you really gotta silence this thing is dangerous, man. Like if I really want to be able to focus, like I usually write my planner for the next day at night, and I've tried to start like putting my phone up at like 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, it goes on night mode, and I plug it in, turn on my noisemaker so it plays while I'm sleeping, and make sure my alarm's set, and then my phone's over there plugged up on the other side of the room, and I just don't look at it, because it's just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, the thing is removing distractions from you. Like if you're like, oh, I'm going to read 10 pages, but you got your phone right next to you, guess what? People are going to be, it's going to be going off. And the other thing too is turning off notifications for things that you really don't need them for. Like for me, email notifications have to be off because that thing's going all day long, and then like if I'm sitting here with you, I got my phone on it's like focus mode or something like that. So no notification, it's over there, so I don't even feel it, because if I didn't do that, I'd be buzzing the whole time we're here. And I'm sure you're the same way.
I turn off Instagram notifications. They don't come on my phone. Like if I open, then I can see everything. But that was something big. Like I'm going to get to a point that I haven't decided exactly when I'm doing it this year, but 30 days no social media, which I mean, when you have sponsors and stuff like that, people kind of want you. But it's I mean, it's huge. Like to just disconnect from that stuff. It's crazy how much of a time suck. I mean, it's great in some aspects, and especially when you're building. It's crazy how much you can build a business off of some of those things. But at the same time, is it worth it? Like, let's see how much, if I take this thing away from 30 days, like how the rest of my life is going to go. So
for me, and I'm sure a lot of people, you got to figure this out, but I just have like windows of time, like 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening. That's where I knock out all my social stuff from a business perspective. From you as like a sponsored athlete perspective, you got to have a presence on there for some of the time, you know, so divvying that up however suits you best, you know. But there's people on there that are scrolling mindlessly all day. That's where you get in trouble.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is someone like you, you know, you're you know, people look at you, they're like, hey, they're influenced by you, you're a role model to them. So it is important for you to have a presence on there.
Yeah.
To be able to be that to, you know, other people, you know, people looking at you for potential sponsorship, that kind of stuff. So there's got to be a balance in it.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Yeah.
But it can be a major trap. One thing that really pisses me off is people that are driving and I'm like next to them or behind them and their phone is just scroll. I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Driving on the phone.
Dangerous stuff.
That pisses me off. But anyway, Tyler, you got any wrapping or closing out thoughts, conclusions, other comments you want to make or anything like that?
No, that's it, man.
That's a good story.
Again, thanks for having me. Hopefully,
thanks for having us, man.
We can do this again sometime. We'll get the neighbor.
Maybe we'll have the neighbor. By the way, Tyler is Doc Anthony's neighbor.
Yeah,
we're doing some recon after this on the Doc's house. Don't tell him.
Most dangerous street in Cane Bay. So
yeah,
don't come around here. No problems.
You get him to adjust you at all in your back? You get him to adjust you at all?
Not yet. Not yet. Nah, I do.
You might be too big for his table, dude. You might crush his table a little bit.
I'm sure he can figure something out. But yeah, I gotta start getting over to see him.
So, I don't know. He might. You know, you might have some beef on there. He might not be able to get through. You know.
Well, we'll see.
Put him to the test. You know.
Yeah, man. Guys, just thanks again for having me.
Thank you,
it was
man.
awesome sharing some stuff and yeah.
Thanks for your service. Thanks for you know your influence to others and your motivation for others. I know you motivate me. You know, I'm looking at your socials.
Cool,
You're motivating me. I'm like, hey, he's getting after it today. I got to make sure I'm getting after it today. You know,
well, y'all come back anytime and leave y'all's equipment. We'll get a workout.
A little Iron Revolution
this is
workout.
I call this the Juice Palace.
All right,
because you get juicy in here. You get the pump on, get juicy.
Yeah.
So
good to go.
Juice,
man. We'll do
the Juice Palace.
Heck yeah, we'll set it up. All right. Well, thanks you to the listener for paying attention. Tyler, what is your Instagram handle for anyone looking?
Just _ Tyler Watkins. TYLER WATKINS.
All right, and Tyler again. He's a Marine veteran. He's a sales guy. He's a father.
Yep.
He's a leader.
Yep.
He's an NFQ athlete, Rhapsody Gym, CrossFit team athlete, recovery and motion athlete, and he's good to go. So
I don't think you miss anything. That's pretty good, dude. That's talent right there.
All right. Well, y'all have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. Tyler, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, brother.
See you next time.
Yeah.